Well, how we doing, y'all? This, I'm gonna make a part two to why owner operators fail because this little oil leak's turning into a perfect example of what can happen to you and why you got to have money set aside. So Ryan finally got it all kind of torn down to where he could see what was what. And it is the worst case scenario. It is the case leaking, not just the front main seal. So the parts stay the same. It's like I don't know if I have this written down right, but I'm pretty sure it's about $950 in parts with the new harmonic balancer. It's either $950 or $650. I'm waiting for him to text me back. Doesn't really matter. We'll just go with $950 because I'm pretty certain that's what he said. That balancer is like $700. And he had a bunch of seals. He got a whole front kit for the whole thing. So I'm not going to go into great detail, but on the front of your motor is basically a box. Okay, it's not a perfect box. It's got a little, and that goes up against the motor. Okay, it has a seal, and sticking out the front of that motor into the box is gears. Gears. Okay. And the crankshaft, camshaft, and they all have gears on them. Okay, and you got to put them all together and time them. It's quite a whole thing. And then there's a main seal that goes around the crank because on the front of the crank is your balancer and your pulley, your main pulley to spin all your other stuff on the motor, right? Your air conditioning, alternator, etc., etc., etc. And a seal goes around that, okay? Because inside that box, you have to have oil, all right, to lowball the gears. And then it has a cover on the front of the box, a thin cover. So we were hoping it was just the main seal or the front cover. I knew the front cover was leaking a little bit, so those in and of itself, not a super big deal, but you know, you got to pull the radiator out, the balancer off. It's pretty hard and stuff to just replace that. Well, it's actually the case too is leaking back there up against the motor. That turns it into a whole nother animal because now you got to pull all those gears off, and it's a very tedious project when you go to put them back together. You got to set the lash on the gears. You know, you don't just put them on there and hope for the best. You got to make sure the cam gear goes back on and everything's timed right. Plus, you got to get the box off. It's hooked to the oil pan in the front. It's a whole thing. So just double the labor. We went from, 6, 7, 8 hours to probably 20-ish or more. So I'm going to give you a rundown of what this little oil leak really cost. What does an oil leak cost an owner-operator when it turns into something like this? So right off the bat, I got $950 in parts. Ryan is cheap. He's probably only going to charge me $2,000 labor. You could double that at a dealership because they're going to be closer to $200. And then I'm going to have what they call shop supplies. Well, not even that. It's I just put that here, but it's I actually brought him 4 or 5 cans of brake cleaner out of my shop, and but I'm going to have to refill the radiator with antifreeze, and it holds a lot. 4 or 5 gallons or something. So I just put $150. So that gives my total bill. I have an estimated cost in a video, whatever video I do after I get all done, I'll give you all the final number. But I'm planning on about $3,500 for an oil leak to reseal the front of this motor. So $3,500 just for that. Plus or minus, it could be 37, it could be 33, but I got a 3,500 here as my baseline. Might be a little above, might be a little below. Hotel, we're looking at about $385 for this hotel for the week, and it's nothing fancy. It's a Quality Inn. So we're gonna be at $385. Now, if it was just that, I would be at $3,885. And it depends on if you want to figure this or not. I mean, you also got to take into fact I'm losing a whole week here. So I could have, in this amount of time, I could have done 2 more hops for a minimum of $4,500. Now, of course, I have a cost per mile, and how much of that do I actually get with the diesel price or whatever. And I get more than half. But a good way to figure your overall is whatever you gross, you're going to end up with about 50% of it. By the time your fuel, your deductions, and your taxes are done, if you gross 200 grand a year, you're going to put in your pocket 100 grand. So let's just cut it in half and make it 2250. I probably get a little more than that because I don't have as much overhead. But let's just do it for kind of everybody, I guess. So I lost another $2,250 to my bank account. So that would bring my total $6,135 an oil leak cost me. $61.35 for a freaking oil leak. So this is why you need to have money in the bank, because things happen. That oil leak would get worse and worse. You could drag it out for so long, but you're going to have to fix it. You start dumping, half gallon a day and coating the bottom of your truck. Wait till you get pulled into a scale. You'll be shut down. You can't do it. And then, boy, are you ripe for the picking for some roadside dude or getting towed into some shop in the middle of nowhere or some dealership. They're going to stick it to you, double all these numbers. So there you go, $61.35 to fix an oil leak if I count my lost wages, $3,885 if I don't count my lost wages. But, I'm losing money sitting in this hotel. And I'm already bored out of my mind. Also, I got a call yesterday. If you watch my headlight videos, I've had an ongoing headlight issue with this truck. And I got it they temporarily fixed it for me down there in Jonesboro. We ran a jumper wire. The headlights they all run through what they call a chassis node, fancy name for a computer. It's a chassis computer. And they run on different circuits and whatever. All this so it can pop up on the dash to tell you a light bulb's out. This stupid crap. Anyways, that chassis node went out. Is what they say it is after they diagnosed it. And I think I spent $1,800 in there. The $650 or $7 was a seat. So it cost me, they were in there drinking around with that for like 5 hours at $180 an hour. So that cost me $1,000 just to find out that it's a computer. That's what they said. And that computer's been on back order. They finally got it yesterday. That computer is $1,200. And they're going to charge me 1 hour labor to install it because they have to program it. So they add another basically $200 to that. So we're another $1,400. So by the time I'm said and done with that, it's costing me $2,500 freaking dollars to get my headlights to work. Unbelievable. Yeah, it's a tax write-off, but this is why I say all these things come up in the world of becoming and being an owner-operator. When the smoke clears at the end of the year, yeah, you're going to do good. You're going to make more than a company driver. You should be if you're doing this right. But you're going to have ups and downs as we go, and you have to sustain the low time. So this little $3,800, fine. Next month I'll get all that money back and we would be good. But you're going to go up and down, and if you don't have for when you're down, you're done, out of business. So I guess I was going to do a video on this, but if I had to put a number on it, if you're going to buy an older truck, I got that one I bought from Ryan, 2013. We got about pushing 800,000 miles on it. It hasn't been rebuilt yet. It's got a new tranny, new clutch. That was in it when I bought it. Runs pretty good. No blow-by issues. It burns a little oil, not bad, but it's coming up on an engine build probably within, I'm trying to stretch it out to 1 million, but then the next couple 100,000, probably. Who knows? Some of these, I switched it over to AMSOIL, and I'm going to do a video on that. It's been a great, great thing for that motor. Cut the oil consumption down and runs smoother, better fuel mileage. Jumped about 1/4 mile a gallon just by switching the oil, and that adds up big at these oil prices. If I had to put a number on it, when you buy a used truck, especially if you're not going to do some of your wrenching yourself, you might as well figure about $10,000 a year in maintenance and repairs. That's just what it's going to be, guys. Talk to most owner operators. That's just what it is. You're about 10 grand a year, roughly, in repairs. Not counting your oil. Well, I guess, I wouldn't count your oil changes in there, especially if you're going to pull into a truck stop and get robbed for $300 or $400 each time to get your oil changed. But, you're going to have things. You're going to have clutches, whatever, and that's $10,000 with nothing catastrophic. Catastrophic would be engine or transmission. If you got a manual, that's not really catastrophic. I mean, you can get a new, 10-speed, 13, 18-speed for $500 to $6,500, depending on if it's a 10-speed or 18-speed, and labor to put it in. But if you have an automatic, at this point, nobody really fixes those. It's goes bad, they just replace for about $15,000. So if your automatic tranny goes poo-paw on you, it's basically catastrophic. It's like an engine. An engine's $25,000 by the time you do injectors, if you do everything right. Switch the turbo if it's not new, and so on and so forth. But look at 15 grand just for a tranny plus install. So 6 hours, whatever. 16 grand roughly. All right, just thought I'd do a little follow-up video with you, and use. That's not my misfortune. This is just trucking. This is the way it goes. So use this as a good example of why you have to have capital and reserves set aside. All right, y'all, I'm back to watching nothing. I'm not a TV guy. Yesterday I was watching this show. It's probably old. I don't know. I don't watch TV. It was called Moonshiners or some bunch of hillbillies in Virginia and whatever, running moonshine still. Kind of funny. I don't know if it's a scripted show or whatever, but I got a kick out of it anyways. All right, y'all, have a good one. I got another video I'm working on here. I'll probably get that one done too because I got nothing better to do. All right, y'all, God bless you, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.